Have you ever wondered, when you've met someone for the first time and you give them a hug, you just think, have we met before? Or I've met you before? Or do you know what I mean? Where it's the energy, it's just like it feels familiar. So that has happened to me a few times, and it got me thinking about having a soul. And I feel that when those moments happen, my soul and their soul are talking or resonating or singing together, or they're on the same pitch, frequency or whatever. And that's why when we give our earth suits a hug, it's deeper than that maybe we have met before, maybe it's a previous life, or before we've agreed to come to earth for that. And why I've been thinking this is because when I kind of had my meltdown, burnout 8 years ago, someone told me along my journey, but you chose this life, you chose your parents. And I'm like, what? I would never choose this life or this pain to be born into. But maybe I did, now that I carry on with my journey. And just those unexplained hugs with people that you've never met, or you've met for the first time, but it feels so familiar. So I've been thinking about the soul, and I'm going to continue a little more now that I've finished my apple. I feel very small in these in the hills here, all the fells that we call in the Lake District, that I'll walk and talk, but I'll leave you with this. As I was wandering today, I actually thought about Mike the Headless Chicken. This is something I've spoken to a few people face to face, but now I want to share with you this paragraph that I found. But mainly, the reason why I have spoken about Mike the Headless Chicken is because since discovering the Wim Hof over 8 years ago, I've found that it's really connected me to my soul, because before then, I perhaps didn't know what a soul was or believe in it. But I do believe everyone has a soul, even animals, they have a soul too. And doing the breath work and cold has really helped me connect to the soul and live and exist in that way, or have a glimmer and feel those feelings and bring it to the world that we live in now. So I have loads. I can bore you more about the soul and how it's just calling and drives you sometimes to your decisions in life, because I chose to leave conformity. None of it made sense in my logic brain, but there was something saying to trust the process. So I leave you with this paragraph about Mike the Headless Chicken. There can also be a soul aspect to emotional events. When something terrible happens, your soul, which normally resides in your brain, gets projected out of your body to protect you from certain amounts of soul injury. Some people can feel this out-of-body experience watching themselves from afar or even above. This is a safety mechanism. This way, your soul doesn't have to experience the full amount of pain from betrayal or loss. You may have heard of the supernatural occurrence of Mike the Headless Chicken. Mike was a chicken in the 1940s who survived long after his head was cut off. There are lots of theories out there of how this happened. After hearing this story, at the time, hundreds of farmers worldwide started chopping their chickens' heads off in experimental ways. It became an obsession, chopping the heads off in various places. Farmers would sever their heads higher up, preserving even more of their chicken's neck and brainstem than Mike's, trying to see if their chickens would survive too. Over 100,000 chickens were beheaded in this process and never survived. Here's what they don't know about how Mike stayed alive and why it's relevant here. A chicken has a soul, which normally resides in its brain, just like ours. At the traumatic time of having its head chopped off, this chicken's soul left the chicken's brain instead of floating away into the ether. As the chicken's body died, the chicken's soul re-entered into the chicken's body, giving the physical body's will extra strength to survive. Along with intelligence, the soul had gathered from the chicken's brain. Let me just repeat that. Along with intelligence, the soul had gathered from the chicken's brain. That is, Mike stayed alive because by entering his body, his soul gave strength of will and brain intelligence to his body. How incredible is that? So for me, it's just a demonstration that when you tap into the soul, or you let the soul guide you, and sometimes mysteries of life and guidance. It far exceeds the body's intelligence or the mind's rationale. And this is a really, really good example, even if you don't want to believe it. What's your theory? So when you've been doing the Wim Hof Method for so long, like I have, I've really found what it meant or what it means to touch the seed of your soul through the breath, because I know no other breath work in the world that's as dynamic as the Wim Hof Method breath work and can take you so deep at cellular level that when you are in that time and space, the soul knows no judgment and no concept of time, and you kind of have this remembering why we are here, as Wim says, and it's totally amazing to feel that connected. So this is why I think I have changed my life massively. So I'm now living in a van, going much in the flow of life. I've walked away from conformity, maybe my mum's expectations of how I should be living my life and living my life for me, because I was born in a different world to her. And what I have realized that my trust is in watching the sunrise, in watching the sunset, because they will not be there for me. Watching the full moon, understanding the darkness of the new moon. And being in the water is like living for my cells. It's at cellular level, I feel so alive. The water has memory and energy that I cannot describe, which is why I go into flowing water. And finally, I just love to eat whenever I can, like a fresh apple, fresh fruit, because it gives my cells live water. So all these things I have trust and gratitude for, that it doesn't matter about the comments that I've had about my earth suit and how I am, because I trust in something far, far bigger. And the only reason why I do is because I've gone so deep inward and the breath I thank for taking me there. So it's helped me inquire about the soul. And I really loved the way that medical medium described the soul awareness and how powerful the soul is. And you can just tap into it and really not know half the strength, but it's just incredibly much more than I can ever be. And isn't that the beauty of life?